Hello, and a warm welcome to World This Week by latestlaws.com. This is a weekly program, so hit the bell icon to get notifications for new videos. I will be taking you through the significant orders and judgments passed by various courts in the country and some important international news from this week. Let's begin with the Supreme Court this week. The Supreme Court addressed a writ petition concerning the operationalization of Section 6 of the Anand Marriage Act, 1909, as amended in 2012, seeking uniform rules for the registration of marriages solemnized by the Sikh rite, Anand Karaj. The court directed all states and union territories to notify rules within a specified time frame and mandated that, in the interim, such marriages be registered under existing civil registration frameworks without any discrimination. Importantly, the court observed that the statutory promise of facilitating certification and civil consequences for Anand Karaj marriages must be made effective and accessible to all citizens. The Supreme Court agreed to examine whether a constitutional court can replace a life sentence with a fixed-term sentence in cases of heinous crimes. The case arises from the conviction of a former Roman Catholic priest for repeatedly sexually assaulting a Class 8 girl between 2014 and 2015. Following a complaint filed by the victim's mother in April 2015, the trial court convicted him under the Indian Penal Code 1860 and the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012 and sentenced him to life imprisonment. In March 2023, the High Court modified the punishment to 20 years imprisonment without remission. The Supreme Court took strong exception to the arbitrariness in how criteria for appointments are considered for women army officers seeking permanent commission compared to their male counterparts. The division bench of Justice Surya Kant, Justice Ujjal Bhuyan, and Justice N. Kotiswar Singh asked how the army could apply to different yardsticks for officers who undergo identical training and postings. How can there be two criteria based on gender? Is there a different format for evaluating SSC women officers and male officers? The bench questioned. The Supreme Court cancelled the bail of notorious gangster Chhota Rajan in the 2001 murder of Mumbai hotelier Jaya Shetty, ending his brief hope for relief. Known for his decades-long criminal empire and multiple life sentences, Rajan was deemed unfit for suspension of sentence, with the apex court emphasizing that a convict with a history of abscondence and serious crimes cannot be lightly dealt with. Now, let's get an overview of the High Courts. In a decision emphasizing the contours of matrimonial cruelty, the Delhi High Court has held that a wife's persistent pressure on her husband to sever ties with his family amounts to cruelty under the Hindu Marriage Act, 1955. The court upheld the family court's decree dissolving the marriage, rejecting the wife's appeal. The division bench of Justice Anil Kshetrapal and Justice Harish Vaidyanathan Shankar observed that while mere preference to live in a nuclear household cannot by itself be construed as cruelty, coercive conduct to estrange a spouse from his close relatives crosses the threshold of marital tolerance. The bench observed, while the mere desire to live separately is not cruelty, persistent and pressurizing conduct to sever the respondent's husband bonds with his family certainly is. The Supreme Court held that a wife's persistent effort to alienate a husband from his parents constitutes mental cruelty. The Gauhati High Court has directed a private school and the state of Assam to provide minor students free education, along with books and uniforms, under the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education, RT Act, 2009. The ruling reinforces the legal mandate that free education encompasses all essential academic materials, not just tuition. The petitioners, admitted to Class KG and Class 3 at the respondent school without paying admission fees, were denied regular classes after their parents could not afford the cost of books and uniforms. The Madras High Court addressed a petition filed by the president of a farmer welfare organization, alleging repeated obstructions to travel for peaceful protests to New Delhi. The petitioner claimed that despite holding valid train tickets, he and his members were deboarded, which was seen as an attempt by authorities to prevent their right to protest. Previous court rulings had upheld the constitutional right to protest, but interference was said to persist. In a strong rebuke to the practice of insisting on local sureties for bail, the Punjab and Haryana High Court has held that such a condition amounts to a violation of fundamental rights and, in effect, denies the very right to bail. Justice Sumit Goyal observed that demanding a surety from within the local jurisdiction is not only a logistical inconvenience but a profound assault on fundamental rights. The court noted that the practice unfairly discriminates against citizens from other states, creating a dichotomy solely on the basis of residence. Moving on to international news this week, families of 4 victims of the Air India flight AI-171 crash have filed a case in the Delaware Superior Court, alleging that defective cockpit fuel switches caused the accident, which killed 260 people, including passengers, crew, and people on the ground. The Boeing 7878 Dreamliner, operating from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick, crashed just 32 seconds after takeoff on June 12. A preliminary report by the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, AIB, revealed that both engines lost power when the fuel control switches moved from run to cutoff. Though the crew reset them within 14 seconds, the aircraft had already lost thrust and slammed into a nearby building. In the end, we have miscellaneous news. The CBI court, Vishakhapatnam, convicted and sentenced Kalka Ramdas, the then Inspector, Central Excise AMP, Customs, Srikakulam Range, Srikakulam, as on filing charge sheets Superintendent, Customs AMP, Central Excise, Office of Assistant Commissioner of Customs AMP, Central Excise, Vishakhapatnam, Polki Janakiram, Vandragi Village, Ponduru Post, Srikakulam District and a private company MS. Shri Balaji General Trading Company represented by P. Janakiram, to undergo 5 years imprisonment with a fine of Rs 1,01,000, Rs 2,51,000 and Rs 2,01,000 respectively in a Rs 32 crore 28 lakh fraud case. Thank you for watching and have a nice day. This is a weekly program, and to get more information please check the description box for weekly updates. Like and subscribe to our channel.